good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this world. Yeah, welcome. Sorry we're late. 45 minutes late to be exact. But yeah, so far it's going to be me solo for about maybe 10-15 minutes. And my other guest will pop on at some point. Uh, but yeah, listen, we got the Quadro is already in the chat. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's bear with me a sec. Let's get up on there. Yeah. Quadro, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Panel's not here yet, mate. So yeah. But no, it is what it is. I mean, it's not easy when you've got families and you know, you got to get things sorted out. So it's all good. It's all good. But you're welcome to hop on any time you want, though, if you're free. You know what I mean? So it's links. It's in the chat. So you know what I mean, Roger. Big up for your support, man. Thank you. Yeah. I do have some legends coming on. A couple of them. Well, definitely one. Definitely one. Smash the like and subscribe. It's pretty K74 and to the panel as well, people. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, 6 likes so far. Wow. Yeah, keep smashing the likes, yes. Please do. Okay. And that's the invite for anyone who wants to come on and have their say. You can be anyone. That to be an Arsenal fan, you can be a Spurs fan, you can be any fan you want to be. You know, you can even support the New York Knicks and you can come on this show. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. Maybe the streaming's been a bit slow today. Yeah, welcome back. Big up to you, Watcher. Big up to you. Oh yeah. You see, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And that's another reason why I wanted to do this quickly, because I know everyone will be tuned into United versus Brentford. But yeah, I mean, I'll look at it. Hopefully, Brentford can get the 3 points and then road to Europe. Big up to the one and only Chris Welch, as always. Big up, everyone. Hope you're well. Yeah, all good, Chris. All good. Hope you're good. Hope you're getting ready for the playoffs. Yeah, it is a London derby between United and Brentford. Oh, yeah, definitely it is. It is indeed. It is. Yeah. So I just wanted to I was so busy yesterday. I hope you'll watch the takeover reaction. I caught up with the reaction yesterday. Big up to the takeover. I mean, and I just wanted to get a breakdown of yesterday's game. But before I do, I'm going to bring someone who I've admired for a long time, and I've followed this guy. And we've anytime he's on the stream, always put in the comments and that. Manny, big up to you, man.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. Nice to be here. And obviously, that stream you did with a group of other guests, including my old mate Steve-O, the Aussie Gooner. I mean, after that, I actually was led on to your channel through his stream, and then I came onto yours and dropped a sub, and the rest is history. So I thought, just thought I'd come on the show, a little bit of support. But obviously, you were going to sort of segue into the Arsenal-Newcastle game. I only saw the second half because I'd gone out, to the gym and came back just in time for the second half. And obviously we had a 1-0 lead, but I'll tell you what, I wish I hadn't seen the second half, to be honest with you, because it was it was turgid more than anything else. And that is a more than appropriate word to describe the football that we are playing as of late.
Yeah. I call it Jurassic Park football, man. That's what it is. You know what I mean? I just cannot be arsed with it. Seriously, it's depressing, my friend. It's depressing. But did you get to see the? You saw the goal, and did you see highlights at all? the first half?
Yeah, I did see the highlights. I mean, obviously, Havertz with the assist and Eze with an opportunistic strike. And, Eze has been one of our signings of the season, not because of Arteta, but despite Arteta, if you know what I mean. And in many ways, Brenny, it's like you have a manager who, has a group of really talented players at his disposal. And it's as if he goes out of his way to suck the joy and the talent out of them and make them feel, just make them feel absolutely awful afterwards. I don't even know why that should be the case, to be honest with you. And one thing which I'm always very fond of saying is that if you give a bad carpenter a good set of tools, he'll find a way to muck up the job. Whereas good carpenters, even with bad tools, will do a much better job than otherwise. But with Arteta, the worst part is, not only is he mucking up the job, he's destroying the tools as well. And it's another reminder of how unfit for purpose he is. But you know what also angers me, Brenny? I go on Twitter quite frequently, and you and I also follow each other on Twitter, right? So I see a great deal of, for want of a nicer word, idiots making it crystal clear that they believe Arteta's the man, and he's literally been a Messiah-like figure ever since he joined the club. And, if we opt to sack him, we need to be careful for what we wish, because things could end up going really sour if we sell him. They could go pear-shaped. And yet, these people, I don't know if they're just, willfully ignorant or stupid or even both, but they refuse to see all of the little nitty-gritty things that you and I see, fans like you and I see. And it's as if they're literally going la 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 with their fingers in their ears, refusing to, accept any other alternative opinions. And some of these guys also end up invariably being the biggest critics of a certain Unai Emery, who has done wonders with Aston Villa. And for me, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just before you go on, I just want to get to Unai Emery. Okay, now what's annoying me for you is when he was appointed, I was happy with the appointment because of what he's done before, and what people tend to forget is when I've said to people, right, when Emery retires as a manager, I'll tell you what, he'll have great stories to tell his grandchildren because he has won a league title, albeit not here. He's won a league title in France. He's won cups. He's won four European trophies? Four
Could be a fifth this season.
Yeah, I mean, but then they'll want to say, but he didn't win well, did he? But then what gets me is that there's double standards because he still gets a pasting for the beating we got from Chelsea in Baku, right? Arteta is still this. He's still this god after losing the Carabao Cup final. I mean, make it make sense. But go on, Fred. Go on.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, see, what is going on with Unai Emery and Aston Villa? That is a real process because he took a team that might not have been as been that bad to be in a relegation scrap under Steven Gerrard. That useless git. But it wasn't quite good enough to be, competing for Europe. And he actually performed a miracle, bringing them up from 16th at the time to finishing, I believe it was 7th or something. Yeah, that got them into the Conference League. So from near relegation to European qualification, he literally worked a miracle. And that was more or less the squad which Dean Smith had circa the time Villa got relegated and then afterwards secured their spot in the Premiership by the skin of their teeth. And so the way they've built, that's a process. What we have right now, his first 2 full seasons with us, ever since that FA Cup win, convinced me that Arteta would never be the guy. And then, by some good grace, we ended up, in a few title races, finishing second, and people are talking about how finishing in the top 2 for 4 consecutive seasons is something unprecedented. Morons don't even remember that for 8 consecutive seasons under Arsene Wenger, that was his second to his 9th, we finished in the top 2 and won 3 titles. People ignore that. And they say whatever they want to try to gas up this manager. And I think, and don't get me wrong, I was one of those people who was eager to give him a chance after the FA Cup win, but then he mucked it all up, you see. And with Emery as well, I'm going to die on this hill that quite a few of these much vaunted players in the squad, for some reason, chose to down tools on him. All the more disgraceful, because you take a look at that Europa League final, yeah? And, of course, as a piece of trivia, the likes of Kepa and Jorginho played in that Europa League final before joining us. So, go figure. I don't know if Kai Havertz was in the team. He might have been, but I can confirm that later. But when you had a situation where Petr Cech was the best player on the pitch in that final, from an Arsenal standpoint, you know that the much vaunted players in our squad, including the likes of Ozil and others, just they down tools on him. And who else was in that Chelsea team? Olivier Giroud and the likes of Ross Barkley, Conor Gallagher, and a few others. David Luiz also was in that Chelsea team, and not too long afterwards he joined us. Jesus Christ. But then I look at the 11 who started, with the exception of Cech. And although, as much as I love Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, I'm also going to have to include him in the list of players who, threw Emery under the bus, although you've got to definitely look at Mesut Ozil, Lacazette, even Granit Xhaka, and several others. And, Emery was never going to be given that respect and that support and the love that he deserved from the Arsenal fans. And there's a part of me that thinks, Brenny, that when he joined first time, Arsenal the first time, that is, after all his years coaching in Spain and France, I think, it was a culture shock for him because he probably tried too much to, really convince people that he wanted to do a good job, and people just never respected him or took him seriously despite his CV. And they still, use the stick of the Barcelona 6-1 reverse with Paris Saint-Germain with which to beat him, saying that it was Emery's fault. But you take a look at that match, and there was clearly a huge amount of jiggery-pokery going on in the second leg at the Newcastle. You can't convince me otherwise. Yeah? And how that 6th goal was allowed to be scored, we all know that had that 6th goal not gone in, PSG would have gone through on away goals back in the time today. So people were never really willing to give him a chance. He tried his best. We could have had top 4 and a Europa League, and we just missed out. And he had to be sacked in the middle of the second season because, results were not good. Things weren't looking likely to improve, so he had to go. Yeah. You could say that. And, things weren't looking like they were going to get better, so he had to go. And I was all for that. But I never wanted Arteta to join. And it just angers me right now that when people take a look at Emery and the success that he's earning, and the fact that on more than a few occasions he's been able to, stop us in our tracks and prevent us from, going on to win a title on a few occasions, they look at him and see him as someone who is just so bitter about the way things ended. They just despise him all the more. And they also let that spill over onto Emi Martinez, the last Arsenal goalkeeper to win a major trophy. I don't count the Community Shield. That's just a glorified dinner plate and a glorified friendly. And yet, these Arsenal fans, they have no sense of graces or, magnanimity or understanding. And when I say Arsenal fans, I mean the Arteta sexuals. I don't mean all the fan base, everyone in the fan base, because, there are some sensible people who are willing to at least give people the respect they deserve and look at things, with a more open mind before making a harsh sort of judgment if they have to. And I'm that type of person as well. I give Arteta credit when he deserves it, but for the most part, he hasn't deserved his credits. And I'm going to end it by saying, for the choking that we've done in the last few seasons when it comes to being in a title race, 22-23 was just awful. 23-24, we should have further gone on, but then we tripped over the Aston Villa hurdle. We were never in the contest in 24-25. And if we bottle this league, in addition to the football that we've been playing, this will probably be a far worse season than either one of Unai Emery's 2 seasons. And that's saying something. Because what we see here is a man who is intellectually and tactically arrogant, who refuses to evolve, who refuses to see the wood from the trees, who doesn't know how to take care of the welfare of his players, has no sense of duty of care, and who ends up who should deservedly get the blame for everything. And if we don't win anything, then I'm sorry, but I don't care about the progress that's been made. With the money that he's been given, we have a right to expect more, a little bit more in terms of progress. We have a right to expect some trophies. And he's miserably failed to do that. And if 100%. We sack him, if and when we sack him, I have no doubt we'll get someone better.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. And for me, I'm just, like I said, for me, you know, I've been Arteta out for so long, and we've always wanted him to prove us wrong. And I just feel with the football we're playing at the moment, it's I'm not enjoying it, and it's perfect timing that my guy Neil here, he's coming, and big up to you, Neil.
Hey guys.
You know what I mean? And you know, man, and also now this fine legend of a gentleman here, he was at the game on Saturday, and I just wanted to get just a breakdown of what you saw in terms of the game itself, the fact that we could have scored more goals but we didn't, the fact that Newcastle had chances, there was the Gyökeres thing as well, and I feel he's getting stick deserved in my opinion, and you know, for when he came on, and then there was I mean, Bobby and I were doing a watch along, and Oddsy, it was like we were falling asleep. You know, in that second half, we were literally falling asleep. Marnie, you were probably falling asleep as well watching that second half. But give us your take of the day out there, and just give us a breakdown, my friend.
Yeah, man. You know, obviously, good evening all. Good evening, everyone in the chat. Good evening, Manny. You know, nice to meet you, mate. I think, you know, it's look, it's. I must admit that you know, I've got to give it to the crowd. There was a lot of energy in the stadium. You know, I have to give it to the crowd because actually, you know, I had a friend come. He wasn't with me that like the whole day, but a friend came up from Newcastle. Who's a Newcastle fan, and came to the Emirates, and he actually said that it's actually one of the best atmospheres he's heard. And I mean, for a Newcastle fan to say that, you know, that's big up to all the fans in the stadium as well, because they were incredible. They were loud. Right, my breakdown of the game. Look, I think we started the game pretty well. You know, with the players we had on the pitch, I think, you know, look, we all know that, and I'll talk about Saka in a minute, but when Saka's fit, you know, Noni doesn't make the team. You know my views on Noni. I think there's something there, but my worry is he's completely brainless. You know, his actions in the final third are just non-existent. You know, I like Eze on the left. I think Eze starting on the left, you know, is brilliant because you've got more creativity on the pitch. His wonder goal, I mean, watching it live was just beautiful. I mean, what a beautiful moment. And again, you know, I actually take it out on Newcastle because they'd played that same corner 3 times. But fair play, you know, it was a well-worked corner. They'd obviously seen that there was an area there that they could attack, and they did it well. With regards to the Kai Havertz versus Gyökeres, look, I like Kai for what he's done, but I just don't get this narrative that's going around in the fan base, and no one, by the way, thinks like this at the game. Havertz really did nothing whilst he was on the pitch. He really didn't. And watching it live, you actually watch when he's making runs on the ball. He wasn't making runs. His pressing was awful. I don't know if maybe he had the niggle before the game started, but he didn't look like he was that interested. And my next negative thing I'm going to talk about Havertz, and again, please, I don't want it to come across like I just like Havertz. I like Havertz a lot, but he's not a number 9, mate. He's a false 9. He's a midfielder. And I have arguments in Discord all the time with a certain individual that likes to post and I appreciate, we appreciate everyone, and we appreciate everyone has opinions, different opinions, but where I'm coming from, Gyökeres, the guy is not given service, and it was very, very evident when he came on. He's not a technical number 9. He's not a target man. Yes, he's big and strong, but he's not a target man. It's not his game. Yeah. So yes, he will do that job if he has to, but that's not what he was bought, in my opinion, to do. Now I hear this narrative, Arteta didn't want him. Arteta signs off on every player that comes into that club. And people that don't understand that don't understand how a business is run. No director is going to go out there and buy an individual player without the consent of the manager. It just won't happen. It doesn't happen in football. The manager has to sign off on a player, and the manager will go to the technical director or the sporting director and say, right, here is my list, A, B, and C, or 1, 2, 3. This is my list. This is what I want. And obviously then we'll go out as a club, and we will buy what we can and what we can make at that time. Now, we needed a lot of plugging of depth this season. So when they went and spent money in the summer, I honestly think Gyökeres came up and he was a risk, but he was a risk of a guy that scored 80, 70 goals in 2 seasons. I mean, and I hear this narrative, he played in the Portuguese league. It's, rubbish. It's not rubbish. Because as a number 9, I played number 9. Brenny, I know you played up front. I did. You can't just switch off scoring a goal, right? You can't just turn that off. You either know how to strike the ball at goal or you don't, right? Yeah. So there's no ways that could be turned off. Now, in my opinion, what's happened, and I say my opinion, what's happened with Gyökeres is we haven't played to his strengths. In fact, I think we've played to his weaknesses. So there's this guy getting loads of grief because obviously he's the gunman. He's the guy that's meant to be leading our team forward. But the guy's not got any service. The fact that he's got 18 goals this season is incredible to me. And watching it again, I posted a picture in our Discord the other day where Ødegaard in the second half had the perfect opportunity to slip Gyökeres, who was running down the left channel, in through. It was the easiest pass in the world. What did he choose to do? He chose to go backward, that sort of diagonally backwards to Zubimendi in an attack. Now, if that was Havertz, he would have slipped the ball through to Havertz. Now, different story if Ødegaard doesn't trust Gyökeres, different story. As a manager, I'm going up to Ødegaard and saying, give him the ball, mate. Give him the ball and he'll bang in a goal. Simple as that. So that's my grief with Gyökeres. The rest of the team, I thought Zubi had a decent game. Again, you could see he was tired. But I thought he had a really good game. In fact, I saw some crazy stats that this season Zubimendi has actually covered more mileage than Declan Rice.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that.
Now that's saying something. So, and 50 games in or 51 games in now. And this guy's still going. It's incredible. And I think he's had a good season. Yeah, he's dropped off a bit. I think any of us would drop off after 51 games of playing. And then moving backwards, I thought the defense had a decent game. I thought they gave us a few problems when Voltemata came on, and Vissa came on. I don't know why he doesn't play Voltemata more, but I don't think he'll be there very long to be able to tell us why anyways, old Eddie Howe.
I don't think so either.
No, I think he's definitely gone. But you know what? The only thing I will say is it did get very nervy in the last 20 minutes. You could feel the nerves in the crowd. And I don't think that probably helped the players, but they brought it on themselves. And just to go back to what Manu was saying, Manu was, and look, I've been an Arteta in guy, right? For his whole tenure. And I appreciate what he's done, and I appreciate where he's brought the club from the disarray the club was in when he took over. But he's got to win something this season. Enough's enough now. I think all of us fans accepted the football he was playing when we were winning. But that there's a clear issue. Now, personally, I don't see Arteta going anywhere at the end of the season, if I'm honest with you, even if he doesn't win anything. I think there'll be a conversation that will be had with Arteta. Let's not forget, he's still got another season anyways on his current contract. Doesn't expire this summer, expires next summer. So, whether that then transpires to the club and Berta saying to him, we want to see different football next season. Everything I'm hearing and the noises I'm hearing about signings and stuff like that, for me, indicates that I don't think Arteta's going anywhere at the end of the season, regardless of the outcome. Personally, he's run his course with me now. I haven't given up. Because I always want to back the team, no matter who the manager is. I back the club. No matter who the players are either. Because I think as much as Arteta's tactics this season have been awful, I also think the players need to stand up and be counted. They need to stand up and be counted for, and I don't think they have. I think they did against City. I think they put a performance in against City. They showed fight, which is what I've been asking for since December. They showed fight. They showed heart. I think they did as well against Newcastle, but I just don't know where their form's gone. I don't know where their form's gone. And I don't know whether that's the nerves, whether that's the mental aspect of what's happening around them. But they need to pick up their form, and they need to pick up their mentality to go against Atletico Madrid, because I think they can get to the final very easily against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid also looking like they may have a few injuries as well to key players. But I think that will be a telltale part of our season. I personally, going into and speaking to a lot of gooners up there at the pub before I had far too many pints. Their initial view is, and I agree with it, is City will drop points still. That is a given. I think City do drop points. I worry that we drop points as well against the likes of Fulham, West Ham. Those are two tough games. If we get through those two tough games, I think we crown as Premier League champions. Because I think City will slip up. Either Everton, Bournemouth, Aston Villa. They will slip up. Brentford, they will slip up. But it's whether we don't slip up. That's the difference. And I want to see the heart come out in the next few games.
Neil, wonderful to see
No,
you,
you
mate,
know
and
what?
I'm really glad that you enjoyed the game. And I just want to say right now that, I think you probably might not have heard me saying this before you came on, but I did say that I was willing to give Arteta a chance after the FA Cup win, because obviously that season when Emery got sacked was a horrible season where, things weren't looking all good. And, thanks to a certain few players who, adapted to his system. I believe at that time he was playing a 3-4-3, if memory serves me right. We ended up somehow, we finished 8th, obviously, so it wasn't an improvement in the league that people claimed it was. But, we won that FA Cup and everything was wonderful. But that was when things started to go wrong, especially with his decision to, break up the team. Because history tells us that when you break up silverware winning teams, you seldom, if ever, end up succeeding much with that new team unless you really are a really good manager. And, I'm at least open-minded enough to have a wonderful chat with you, and I'm glad that you agree that given the way things have been going on right now with Arteta, he's sort of run his course with you. It's just that I think we're a little bit too quick right now to predict that City will drop points, because here's the thing. This particular season, the worst part is that it reminds us in many ways of seasons gone by where we weren't able to get it over the line. And we have PTSD. I certainly have PTSD from 22-23 when we were comfortably ahead, but slipped up horribly with draws against Liverpool and West Ham and Southampton. Got crushed by City at the Etihad, and we ended up losing out on the title. Then in 23-24, we were ahead. And although after losing to Aston Villa, we won all our games, City won theirs as well. And one thing which I'm going to say to your mates right now is, yes, there has been a lot of talk this season about how City have been washed and they're no longer the team of old. And certainly when we were as much as 9 points ahead of them, continuing to dream of going further, all that talk was rife. But then we got complacent. We lost games we shouldn't have lost. We dropped points we shouldn't have dropped. And the Bournemouth and City games have now come back to bite us in our rear end, because now, once again, yes, we are ahead by 3 points, but we do have a game in hand. By the time we play Fulham, we will have played 2 more games than City. And, this City team, ever since making those 2 shrewd signings of Mark Gahey and Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth, mind you, they've looked a somewhat more cohesive team. And there was an article on BBC Sport which spoke about how Guardiola is always going to be the master of seeing his teams evolve during a 12-month season and make sure that he has his best 11 during a crunch period, playing practically every game. Now, people are going to talk about how City only won 1-0 against Burnley and struggled against Southampton, only saving their own bacon with 2 late goals from Doku and Gonzalez. But let's put it into perspective. Burnley were fighting for relegation, and City did have more shots on goal, but, Martin Dubravka once again had a pretty decent game. That fella needs to leave Burnley. He's too good to play in the Championship.
100%.
And even against Southampton, that's an FA Cup semi-final. Southampton were well up for it. That Finn Azaz's goal was a thing of beauty, but that Nico Gonzalez winner was also a wonderful goal. And, they dug deep, did what they had to do. And if you take a look carefully, that has been the hallmark of City teams in seasons gone by. We don't seem to have that now. It was just as well that we scored early against the Geordies at the Emirates through Ebery Eze. But I don't think we were able to add much more after that. And I think Nick Pope did make a couple of good saves later on. I did see the second half. Yeah. All I'm saying is, we can't sleep on City and have this assumption, this belief that they are going to drop points, because a good friend of mine, I think Brenny will know this chap, Natster. He has his own channel, of course, and he and I go a long way back as well. We've been on stream together. He talks about something called pattern recognition. When you see the patterns from seasons gone by with certain, individuals or entities or what have you, you know that there's hardly going to be that much of a deviation. As you said, Neil, there's always going to be a chance that we may drop points against Fulham, and they were very impressive against Aston Villa at Craven Cottage. I mean, they literally, they were sharper, they were more aggressive, and they never really allowed Villa to, get into any sort of a rhythm. And then, later on, Villa did throw the kitchen sink at them, but it was too late. And then West Ham, of course, they are fighting to stay alive. They will also give us a very tough game, so nothing is guaranteed. And 100%. Even though Bournemouth and Everton and the likes of course, Aston Villa, of course, are fighting, for Europe, let's also not forget that City do have an excellent record against those particular teams. And City are always going to be the past masters at being able to, make sure they do what they have to do to get it. In fact, you take a look at the recent history whenever City have won. Whenever it's been a close contest, they've come up trumps. Whenever they've been beaten, it's had to take a Herculean effort to do so. And Liverpool have been the only team to have done that. So all I'm saying is I am still hopeful that things can happen. But when you take a look at how we've gone from being in a situation where we were so comfortably ahead to once again relying on snookers, as we would normally say, I mean, that has to be a cause of alarm for you, right, mate?
No, I massively agree, and your points are so valid. Look, City are a formidable team. Let's not forget that. Let's also just state straight away that none of our front line get into that City team. And that's the bare honest truth. Possibly Saka from 2 seasons ago. But in my opinion, I think again, it's purely my opinion. City are suspect defensively still, even with the Gay signing. Rodri is now out for supposedly a couple of games. They're saying whether that's one game, whether that's some people are suggesting 4 weeks. Who knows? I don't personally see him out till the end of the season, but I don't think he'll play in the next game or two. And I think City without Rodri are a weakened team, and that, purely from his leadership, I think they're a weakened team. Bernardo Silva doesn't play as well when Rodri's not playing, and don't get me wrong, because Gonzalez, came on and scored an absolute blinder in the cup final. So let's not sleep on that guy either, because he's clearly a very good player to be able to play even in the City team. But they will be weakened. They're not as strong defensively as they have been. Funny enough, until they play against us and then they turn into some prime Italian team who knows how to defend properly. But what I will say is, Everton fighting for European places, Bournemouth fighting for European places. That those are 2 hard games. I'm not saying that. Look, we shouldn't be in the position. I agree with you. We shouldn't be in the position where we're having to rely on other teams to do our job for us. We shouldn't be in that position. It's unforgivable from the manager and the players. I think it's very easy just to blame the manager, but I think we need to be blaming both of them, both sets of them, because he will go out clearly with a game plan, whether that's right or wrong, but the players have got to show it on the pitch. And that's the important thing for me. I haven't seen that from the players. And it might be nerves. Do you know what? We can only sit here on our sofas and imagine what it's like to be playing in those games. But actually being there and doing it is probably a completely different story. All I will say is I agree with you. We have just got to do what we can do. You know what? And I've always said, and I back it, if our boys go out there and give me 150% in the last 4 games, I will turn around and I will say, the players tried. They tried their best. If we lose to City, because City now go on a run and don't lose till the end of the season, I will completely hate it. For about 3 weeks, I'll be blaming everybody under the sun, including our medical staff and Josh Kronk. I'll probably blame everyone because of the pure hatred. But once I've sit back and I analyze everything, I'm probably going to sit there and go, Arteta's got it wrong this season. He has. He's bought in players and he hasn't used them properly. He's bought in likes of Eze and he's trying to turn him into a defensive player. He's bought in Gyökeres. He's trying to turn him into a false 9. Well, he's not a false 9. He's an out-and-out goal scorer. Put him in the right area. Put him in the right area in the box. Slip in the ball through. The guy's going to score a goal. We also got to remember it's his first season. in the Premier League. So let's not forget that as well when I'm fighting with other people about Gyökeres. But from my point of view, I agree with everything you were saying, and I didn't want to come across that I was not agreeing with what you were saying, because I do agree with a lot that you're saying. But I also think, from my perspective, and I don't think it's just me. I think it's a lot of the pundits out there who are naturally always against us, always against Arsenal. It always has been a thing. But City are not the team of old. And against Burnley, I've seen previous teams, City teams, will go out there and smash them 5-0 easily, and they won't even think about it. I've seen a lot of errors. I've seen a lot of problems within their own City team. If they go the rest of the season unbeaten, fair play to them. They deserve it, because we've been terrible. And I'm not classing this season as, wow, we're amazing. Like we're the best team in England. I don't think we are. I think City have been showing us to be the best team in England. And the only reason we win the Premier League is because City were worse than us in the last couple of games. And that's why we win. Now, had we carried on what we were doing and just somehow managed to, which is I'm sure a manager's job, get the players playing how they should play, which, we're the only team that are declining in the Premier League, whereas everyone else is getting better, which is a bit of a weird thing. I've never really seen it before. But I don't class it as a successful season. Look, we win a league, we win the Champions League, or we win the Premier League, which, by the way, Champions League, please, PSG, Bayern Munich. I mean, I don't even know if I want to watch that game. But I struggle to see how we can be happy. I think we have been subpar. We haven't been as good as we should be this season. But you know what? Maybe all it takes is Arteta to win one league. Then does he become... There will be changes in the summer. We know there's going to be changes in the summer. But will he then have that mentality of, we won the league, albeit pretty nasty way to win the league, but we won the league. Does he then kick on next season and play that attacking football? We know he can play. We've seen him play that attacking football. But I think this season he knew that his parts were on the block, right? And I think he played a season that it was win by any means necessary. And I'd be interested to hear what a Tottenham fan thinks. Dermot, my man Dermot. I'd be very interested to hear what he thinks on the whole debate.
Yeah, Dermot.
But yeah.
Big up, Brenny. Thanks for having me on, man. I know it's a bit odd. A Tottenham fan coming on, a fan reaction.
No,
I did have a Google when you were having a go at your medical department. Have you seen ours? Ours is 100 times worse than yours, to be fair. So Dermot, I have no idea how they let Xavi play on for another 5 minutes, mate. There's a video servicing showing. I was at the game last year when Kula got his injury, and they had him running up and down the touchline.
That's mental.
I put it.
Mental.
It is. Sorry, Brenny. I didn't mean to cut across your bud, but thanks for having me on.
No, not at all. Of course, man. Of course. No, I'm glad you come on, actually, because from I know you've always asked me when I've been on your channel, and now looking from the outside. Congratulations by your win, by the way.
Yay!
But I know you still got a way to go. You still got a way to go. But you know what? I mean, before I ask you this, right? You see, with Neil's breakdown, right, of the game, it was so much better than one Arsenal journo. I'm not going to name him because this guy is just something else. And I went into his shorts today, and the way he broke down the game was nothing compared to how you broke down the game, and you broke it fair and square. And you're one of them. Look, I mean, we've done a couple of years, and you're one of the most honest people I know. You're an Arteta fan, you're Arteta in, but I've never heard anyone criticize Arteta when he deserves criticism more, than that. You know what I mean? You're always on his case. You're always on the players' case. You give them praise Dodgy. You always give them praise. You give the manager praise when he deserves it, and that's how it should be. And I just find with some of these other fans of journalists, it's like it's the way they're scapegoating the operators is just terrible. And obviously, went into this chat. I went in, you know what I mean? I went into this chat, and he didn't even talk about and this one loves Odegaard so much. He didn't even talk about Odegaard's faults, and I had to put that in. You know what I mean? I had to put it in. I'm like, no, come on, man, stop scapegoating. You know what I mean? It's terrible. I was waiting for his defenders to come and attack me, but they haven't attacked me yet. Because I'm thinking, well, what can you say? You know what I mean? What can you say?
But there's nothing to say. And just before we hear from Dermot, you know, and again, I've always been an Odegaard fan. You know, I think he's a phenomenal footballer, but I think Arteta has made him into such a negative keep ball possession number 8 rather than a 10, because we all know, we've all seen Odegaard play behind Haaland in international football. The guy knows what to do, but I think he's so worried about playing outside of Arteta's system that he doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see him in the World Cup and playing in the World Cup.
Yeah. Likewise. I mean, Dermot, I was going to ask you from outside now, if you're managing Arsenal, I know we all think the same way. If you're managing Arsenal, wouldn't you've you know, regardless of what lineup you would have sorted out on Saturday, wouldn't you have thought yourself, you know what? Basically simple, lads. We win 4 games. We score a load of goals because you never know. City can win all their games. You know what I mean? Let's batter them on goal difference. Yeah, we're at home. We're playing in Newcastle. Wouldn't you just think, right? I want you to just get out there, keep it tight. We're going to do something differently. We're not going to be as boring as we have been in recent weeks, and we're going to go out there and score 5.
Yeah,
we look like we were just set up to score the 1 and just defend. And there were times where I thought, oh God, you know what? I think an equaliser's coming in. Musa could have equalised them, but it went out the stadium in that second half. So, what would you have done? Would you have said, yeah, it's about goals. Go score as many goals as you can, and then that will put pressure on when City. By the time City play Everton, and we've already played Fulham, then it puts pressure on City to go and score those goals.
I do feel
the goal difference. So
I do feel from an outside looking in, I do feel Arteta always plays it safe when he doesn't need to. I think there's times where he could be a bit more adventurous. He could be a little bit more outside the box thinking. But I think with him he's a safe manager. He's not a manager that's going to set you up attacking wise. And look at the attacking players you've got. You've got Eze. You've got a load of players in there. Saka as well. Other players that can attack. And it feels like he's putting them on shackles. You can't go outside of this area. That's it. Let them roam free. Because I'm being honest, from the beginning of the season, you were playing really good football. You were attacking. You were good to watch. Even from a Spurs fan, you were good to watch. And you were the best team in the league. And I just feel, as it's now come to the business end, I think Pep may have got one over on there. I think there's more psychological damage from the defeat you had up at the Etihad than there is, because he said to Arteta, right, I can do you. I can outthink you. And now he's questioning himself. Well, I have to play tight. Yeah, and you're right, Neil, when you said about Man City not beating Burnley out of sight. These are the opportunities Man City are giving Arsenal to get a better goal difference, because you know Man City could go on a run. But so could Arsenal. You need to take these opportunities, and you're not. I just feel from a footballing fan point of view, I think you've let Man City back into the title race.
Oh, massively.
By your negativity,
100%.
by the way you've set up, by the way you've let the nerves get to them. He should not be letting the nerves get to these players. They should be some sort, and maybe somebody said it. I don't know who said it. Was it Bobby, or maybe you said it, Neil? Somebody said it in one of your reaction shows, which I do watch, which I do love watching. They're always a good show. So do get
Appreciate
over to
that.
Benny's
Appreciate that, mate.
Football Takeover.
Yeah, thanks, man.
But I wonder if they're getting bored of hearing his voice. I wonder after so many years, they're sitting there thinking, right, this man doesn't know what he's talking about. He hasn't got a clue.
Yeah.
So it's down to the senior players in that dressing room to say, right, lads, we need to take control. We need to do what we're good at and take control of the situation. You go back to the 90s and 80s and 90s, Tony Adams, Steve Bold, David O'Leary, Lee Dixon, Nigel Winterburn, Paul Merson, Groves. You had other players that would take it by the scruff of the neck. Right, we're doing it our way.
Warriors.
And then you go up to the Wenger times under Patrick Vieira, Henry, players like that would say, right, we're taking control of this and we're going to do it our way. If you don't win the title this year, you 100% blame goes on Tata. 100%. Because he's shackling you. He is shackling you, and that is not what you want. You want you to, as you say, Neil, you've got to bang in the goals as well, Brenny. You've got to bang in the goals because goal difference will come into effect. I mean, look at us down the bottom. We've got a better goal difference than West Ham.
Yeah.
And it could come down to goal difference. Either we stay in or not stay in the Premier League. So I just feel whatever happens this year, I do feel Arsenal have to change their manager because it's all right saying he won an FA Cup, but that's not enough when you're Arsenal.
Not good enough. It's not good enough. And the money he's spent as well.
Yeah.
Almost, exactly. £1 billion.
Brenny, I'm very sorry. I have to pop off and do my own show. I wanted to come on earlier.
Oh, of course.
I was having technical issues.
Yeah.
So listen, definitely the next one I come on for the Atletico Madrid match reaction because I enjoy talking football. Even though I'm a Spurs fan, I love talking football.
And we appreciate you, Dermot.
It's,
well, I'll be doing something Wednesday. Before the game, I want to do. I mean, all of you want to come on. It's only going to be a short show. It's just going to be like we'll talk. Just have a little show, talk about what we expect from the game, and also it'll be about brainstorm. It'll be just about the lineups. We're going to talk. When the lineups come up, we'll talk about lineups. And then obviously we'll sign off and get ourselves ready for this. It is kind of an early game, and I don't get nervous. But
and Dermot, just so you know, I also go on one or two Spurs channels as well, so you're not the only one who hops across the divide. So wonderful to see you for the first time, mate, and good luck to you for the rest of the season.
You too, mate. Listen, we do North London Talks Football, so we'd love to get you two guys on podcast 1 week. So let us know when you're free, where we just talk North London and all things football. So
wonderful, Dermot.
And geeks. So, but listen, guys,
big
thanks, mate. Take care, buddy.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Take care of yourself.
All the best. Cheers, man. Thank you. So man. So Marty, so I was going to ask you as well. Well, I don't see it personally, but after the Newcastle thing, but can we score all these goals in case it goes on? Can we win all these games to become champions? And can we score all these goals? I mean, this manager's got to change something, right? Instead of being so damn stubborn.
I think we can win these games. The biggest fear, Brenny, that we normally have is that we end up going into these games, we take a look at everything that happens beforehand, the mismanagement of the players, the increasing number of injuries, and we just wonder if we can, get something. And when it comes to predicting results, we're pretty much at that stage where it's results over performances. I don't care how we get the 3 points as long as we get them at the end of the day. But you see there's another pattern in that every game we play, we get the 3 points, but then there's something, that happens that increases level of fear. Now we've got a couple of injuries after the Newcastle game. I think Martinelli is out. Havertz is definitely out. He was replaced by Gyökeres. who knows how many more players we have who could either be completely unfit or, being forced to play when they're not fully fit. I just fear that one of these days it could end up, crashing down on us. We do have the ability to just stink out these results. But what you were talking about with Dermot there was absolutely brilliant. And that's another reason why I really can't stand Arteta at times. Because, again, one of the things that we always want our managers to do is to do their due diligence, their homework, as it were, and make sure they have a plan of what to do. Because it's not just that City were able to wipe out the 9-point deficit. By beating Burnley, they got back to the top. Yes, we had a similar goal difference, but they scored more goals. So in some ways, we could be thankful that they didn't score more than the one. But City also are playing, I'd like to think they're playing a sort of a type of 3D chess, if you will. Because, yes, they are looking a little bit suspect defensively. Neil, you are spot on there because obviously, Gay and Kusanov have formed some kind of a decent partnership and they've cut down a lot of their errors. I remember when the Azerbaijani, I think he's Uzbeki actually. But when he started playing for City, I think that was last season, I was, you and I'm sure, were telling ourselves, if this bloke ends up playing for City next season, there's no way they've got a chance of winning. He's that suspect. But, the thing about players who play under Pep is that even if they have some very bad debuts, they improve and they improve quickly. Yeah. And they always find a way to make sure that they tighten themselves up. And even if they can't tighten themselves up, they have people bring off the bench who can change a game in the blink of an eye. And they somehow have the knack of being able to score more than us. So you would have thought that we would have looked to try to score more. And maybe we did have some chances to, increase the lead. But it's the lack of urgency to score that really, really angers me. A good manager, gentlemen, will look at everything that's happened in the previous season and actually formulate a plan of how to do things differently and try and work well on that. But now we're in a situation where I think Gyökeres might probably be our only, fit striker that we have. I mean, I don't know if Gabby Jesus is injured. If he is fit, then maybe he can come back in. But I just don't know if he's going to be as effectual or impactful. And he'll definitely be on his way out. And now, if Martinelli's out, we've got to depend on Trossard playing on the left, who may not be as quick as he used to be. He can still put in a very decent cross. We're running on fumes, and City, and City will have no worries about whether or not they can score because ashes to ashes and dust to dust. If Haaland doesn't score, then someone else must.
Sorry.
Yeah. And as I said, if Haaland doesn't score, there will be someone else who will bang in the goals, and they'll find ways to score more goals. And so sometimes when it comes down to goals or goal difference, it's always better to score more than concede less or something like that. So that just angers me because is Arteta really serious? You would think that a guy like him would know about everything, would learn from his history, and yet he just doesn't seem to do that. And when people like us notice that in certain managers, it angers us so much because when you fail to do your due diligence, you're also taking the fans who adore you a great deal. You're taking them you're taking the mickey out of them, so to speak. And that's not being fair to anyone involved. That's all I'm going to say.
Do you know what, Manny? I agree with you.
I've seen it in clubs, 100%. Sorry, Dodgy. I was just going to say I've seen that in other managers as well, and I've seen it in Chelsea managers from a few years back that just couldn't be asked to be there, and then Roman Abramovich ended up sacking. It's just crazy, and you think, wow, you've got yourself all this money that's been spent, and you've got an amazing squad, and I'm not going to go through and name them, but I've seen a few. So I just don't get what it's like with Arteta. But Dodzy, before I'm going to ask you this question, and then basically before we wrap it up, I just want to just get basically a score on for Wednesday, because I mean, what I asked Marty, same question. I mean, can we get these? Can we outscore Man City as well as win these games?
That's my big concern, mate, is the scoring of goals. And it has been since, look, even the set piece FC's dried up. And that's what's worrying.
Yeah.
You know, now is that a mentality thing? Is that a mentality thing? Don't know. Is that Arteta doesn't know how to coach forwards thing? You know, we got to go back and actually look. And I'm going to say this, and I've said it also on Football Takeover, and people might disagree with me, but ever since that Carlos Kesta, or whatever his name is, Carlos left the club. Have we noticed that our attacking abilities have dropped?
Yeah.
Number one. And number two, ever since this crazy manic, I can't remember his name for the life of me, the other coach has come in, that Manchester United fella, Arteta's big friend, what's his name?
Heinz.
Gabriel.
Ever since Heinz has come in, who seems quite a chaotic character, even in training and stuff. He seems as though his head's all over the shop. Have we also noticed that our defense seems to be more chaotic?
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'm clutching at straws. But if I'm Arteta, and this is my season to prove that I can win a league, I'm grabbing those coaches by the neck, and I'm saying to them, coach my team properly, manage my team properly. I don't want chaos. I want control. I don't want mental. I don't want pens being, excuse my language, but we're past watershed. I don't want pens being carried across the fucking field, right? That's not the training I want to see. I don't want to see them balancing balls on their nose, right, from one side of the pitch to the other. I don't care about that. Go and practice how to pass the ball to Gyökeres properly. Go and practice how to move through quick transitions properly. Because I watch Manchester City, and although they do have a lot of areas that I don't think they're great in, I mean, their transitional football with Cherky is insane. It is so quick. Yeah. It's so fast. And I'm so sick of the fans, the Arsenal fans going, oh, but we play against a low block every single game. No.
Oh, yeah.
We create the low block by our goalkeeper doing pirouettes on the ball for 5 minutes, and our two central defenders passing the ball backwards and forwards, slower than my grandmother goes across the lounge in a wheelchair, right? And then we get the ball up front, and there was a typical thing. We had a free kick in Newcastle's half, in the second half, needing to score goals. Where does the ball land up? Back with Raya.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that winds me up, man. Seriously.
Then I've also seen Declan Rice busting a gut, getting the ball up the pitch in the second half, leading an attack, passes it to Odegaard. Where does the ball go? Back to Saliba, which then goes back to Gabriel, which then goes back to Saliba, which then goes out and then comes back around. And I'm sitting there going, in the stadium, everyone's sitting there saying, go forward, pass the ball forward, move the ball through the channels. Because there were spaces. You know, Ramirez is a great player, but there were spaces through their midfield to pass the ball through the channels. But I think the way they've been coached this season, I think when Arteta goes to them now and says, boys, I'm going to take the handbrake off, I actually don't think they know how. Because it's been drummed into their heads, defensive first. I don't think they know how to do it anymore. And so that's a negative against the manager. But I'm also looking at people like Declan Rice. And I'm sitting there going, Ricey, you've had a great season, bud. But what I need you to do is go and grab those guys in the changing room, bang your head against them, right? Do the old school way of giving them a slap across the head and saying, oi, pick yourself up and get out there. Let's go at them. Let's go at the team. Because you know what? If Arsenal play free-flowing football, which we have seen against Villa, we saw it against Bayern Munich, we saw it against Aston Villa, right? We can play free-flowing football. With Saka back, even more so. And actually, by the way, I've given Saka a lot of grief this season. He looked better after this rest, mate. When he came on, he changed that game. And you know what? I just wonder how long he was actually, and again, this is mismanagement of Arteta and the medical staff. I wonder how long he's been playing with that Achilles injury this season. But he looked better. 5 weeks of rest or 6 weeks of rest, however long it's been, seems to have done him the world of good, mate. And you know what? If we get a firing Saka back in these last 5 games, 6 games, however many we've got to play, hopefully we get to the final, I actually think we see a different Arsenal team.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. I mean, Arteta does not have the ability to play tactical football. No, he's done. Yeah. Just want to go back to this here from the silver one. But I don't know if you mentioned what the hell's going on with sorry. You know, StreamYard's really being slow today. It's just being odd.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. It really is. What the? Come on. It's got a mind of its own. It's like that episode of Star Trek. I think it's called The Arsenal Freedom, where the computer was just doing things it wanted to do. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you know what, Brenny? Like Ireland's Arsenal, you stuck it out and you completed it.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Force the watch.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it was what the silver one said basically about Eze in the free role. Did he look like he was playing the free role Saturday? Yeah. I mean, that's what he's at his best, in my opinion.
That's what we bought him to do.
But, yeah. Okay. Well,
but that's what I'm saying, Bruni. We've bought in the likes of Eze that I thought with the signing of Gyökeres, and I thought hopefully Ødegaard can find some form of form this season. I was expecting fireworks this season, mate. I was expecting quick transitions, balls in behind, and it just hasn't worked like that. It hasn't, and that's down to the coaching.
I told you, it's been grandfather football, and you know, and you know what I mean. And it's like I'm thinking he must be taking the mick out of me because I'm a granddad. So you know what I mean. Oh, bless my granddaughter. She's going to be 3 in a week.
Oh, bless her.
So yeah, you know what I mean. So something. We've really missed Saka and Tim. So we've already seen that. Right, come on now, behave yourself. And big up to the one and only Michael. Arsenal Bubble, please like, share, subscribe to him. And anyone else who's in the chat as well, including the real Chris Welsh, the legend that he is. The youngest, funniest football fan I've ever seen. Actually, he's the second funniest, probably to expressions.
Yes, true. True.
Yeah. He's just too much, man. Even in all, I'm worried now after seeing the players drop to the floor full time on Saturday. Yeah, they dropped to the floor, didn't they? Yeah, they're done. I think Atletico will run all over us. What the hell? What the fuck is Arteta putting them through training? Yeah, exactly. I used to think it was there was something wrong with London Colney, but I think otherwise. But you know what though? It's almost 10 minutes gone of United Brentford. Before we wrap this up, Money, just gonna say just a quick one. Just a quick one on how do you think it will go Wednesday, and what's your score prediction?
like I said, I'm at a stage right now where it's results over performances. But the problem is, what was said there in the chat was quite profound. A lot of people seem to have this idea that the Atletico team that we creamed 4-0 in the league stage will be the same team that we faced at the Metropolitano. Nothing of the sort. Last year, we beat PSG in the group stage, but they dominated us in the semi-final, winning both legs. And the worst part is that with Aston Villa having beaten PSG at home in the previous round, I think if Aston Villa had somehow managed to get through, they would have given us a big run for our money. Wow. So the biggest problem is that it's all about building momentum, and that is why I don't take any real satisfaction from seeing us, finish the league stage unbeaten, because it means nothing if we don't go on and win the whole thing. And this semi-final, we all know that we all know basically that we did not face too much in terms of stiff opposition to get this far. I think if memory serves me right, we had who did we have? I know we played Sporting.
We had Sporting. That's it.
Yeah. And less said about our opponents in the round of 16, the better, I would say. Yeah. And then we have these easy draws, and then we just aren't able to produce. I'm still hopeful that we can somehow, escape with a very narrow defeat, because I'd like to think that once we get back to the Emirates, we'll have home advantage and maybe we'll make it count. But Atletico at the Metropolitano, you've got that huge crowd baying for blood. They're going to be loud and raucous, and they're going to want to will their team on, regardless of who plays. I see Atletico beating us 2-1. And if we do get a draw, then that would be amazing. But I just don't know if I can see that happening. 2-1 to Atletico. And I, at this particular point, it's the fatigue that's really going to kill us.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I hear that. Dodsey, same question, mate. What's your, just a quick rundown, what do you reckon is going to happen? And
look, Manny makes a really good point. I mean, Atletico Madrid on their home ground is a different animal. Look what they did to Barcelona. And don't get me wrong. I mean, Barcelona's defense is, I would like to liken that more to a Wolves well, actually, we couldn't beat Wolves, so let's not say that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Yeah. But I'd like to, let's liken it to a really, really weak defense in the Premier League. And I don't know. I mean, we'd probably call it Tottenham. Let's just go with Tottenham, because we seem to like to walk goals through them. The only team actually we do well. We should actually be praying that they stay up so Eze can score more goals next season. But you're playing a different opposition. Like we all know, the league phase in the Champions League. Look, I enjoy the football. I enjoy seeing all the different games. I think, there's no set games. I think they're all, pretty decent games that we get to watch. So I quite like the layout of the Champions League. But I think it will all be about who controls the game, in my opinion, because Atletico Madrid can control a game. And they can wear you down and they can grind you down. And they do have the players that can punish us as well. So I think they're a very well-organized team. I think they're a very good team. I think Arteta walked out of that stadium when we beat them 4-0. And I think he thought he was Billy Big Bollocks, but it's going to be a completely different game. I think it's going to be quite a nervy game. I do think we actually get a 1-0 win away. I actually do believe that. They've got a few, from what I hear, they've got a few players out, a few big players out for them. But again, it's just whether we can control our nerves. Guys, we should be beating Atletico Madrid this season. With the squad we've got, we should be beating Atletico Madrid this season. But I think that comes down to mentality. Can they hold their nerve in a semi-final of the Champions League? And that will tell me how I think the season's going to end. Will be this away game. That's what's going to really define where I see our season finishing. If I see them go out there and I see them control the game, look, I don't care if they go out and score one goal and we win by one goal. I'm happy. I walk out of there going, job done. But Are we able to get that goal? And can we keep Atleti out? I'm going to see a lot this weekend. I'm going to see a lot tomorrow night. Not tomorrow night, Wednesday night. That will tell me a lot about how the season's going to finish, because I think we'll see the fatigue or not as well.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, guys. I see us actually losing 2-1. We will somehow sneak a goal. I don't think it'd be from a set piece. Could even be from a penalty. But what worries me, it doesn't. I mean, I know that their form in the league's been a bit funny, and I know they lost. Was it a cup final they played in? To Sociedad, I think it was. But, so I just feel, So I just feel with them. I watched both games. I knew we were playing either Atletico and Barcelona. I watched both games, and I thought they were both two entertaining games. Two of the best games I've seen this season. And it's not so, and I don't really watch La Liga like I used to. So for me, I looked at, and if you saw the way they counter-attacked Atletico, that's what we've got to look out for. They're very quick on the counter. Defensively, they're not as good as they used to be, but attacking-wise, there's still a threat there.
There is.
There's still a threat there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And Brentford are 1-0 down. They look like they should actually be 2-1 up now. So, but I'm going with 2-1, and we'll just leave it at that. But listen, I'm just going to go into the chat quickly, and then we'll wrap up. Yeah, big up to you, Silver One. Thank you. Appreciate that. Enough respect. My guy, Citizen, from way back when there it goes. Arteta on sidelines, players on the pitch. They need to be brave and go against the grain if need be. Do your thing and get a bollocking at half time or at the end of the dressing room. Yeah,
100%.
But it's you know what it is. If we'd have, I probably would have gone with a different result if we'd have won the Carabao Cup, because I think mentally, if we'd have won the Carabao Cup, we'd have beaten Southampton in that cup. Quarterfinals. I'm not saying we're going to beat City in the cup semi, but yeah, I just think I think.
Brenny, I'm glad you mentioned the cup final, because that was that also has to be looked back on as a real missed opportunity.
And a mental
chance. Yeah, but I mean, more than anything else, it was Arteta's opportunity to show that he was, willing to learn and really make sure he took the game to City and said, you know what, this is my time. I want to do this for Arsenal, for my players, for the fans, and also for me. And he, just soiled his underclothes, it has to be said. And that also had a huge knock-on effect, it has to be said, on the rest of the team. And the only reason why we are still in this race is because of how well we did at the beginning of the season. But again, it's always a marathon, or a Snickers, if you like.
Yeah.
It's never going to be a sprint, and we just never seem to learn that lesson. And I'm really happy to have chatted with Neil today, because, he and I may have contrasting opinions, but we always we seem to be able to come to a consensus and meet really halfway. And that's something I could never, ever do with a lot of these Arteta fans on Twitter. So, Neil, an absolute pleasure and a privilege to meet you, and I hope to catch you on another stream again, definitely. And, it's going to it'll remain to be seen, and I'm really sorry to have had to cut in. It'll remain to be seen what really happens here. But if we, end up with nothing, we're going to look back on so many games this season as missed opportunities and say that our failure in those games has cost us dearly. And I actually do believe that there will come a point, as it did near the end of Arsene Wenger's time here, where the fans will start to look at this and say, you know what? It's the same thing again and again. We can't take it anymore. And as Declan Rice mouthed when we drew at Molineux, effing crap every effing time.
Yeah.
I think, you you didn't need a lip reader to tell you what he was saying, and those words could sadly be an epitaph of how the season has been, unless we get our act together.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And likewise,
100%.
mate, you know, I think you know, in the end of the day, I appreciate everyone's opinions that are fans, because I think I look, you're always going to get very naive fans that will only have one belief and they have their blinkers on. But I think, you know, as a football club, we all want the best for Arsenal, don't we? We all want Arsenal to win everything that they can. So I appreciate everything you've said, and I actually agree with a lot of what you said as well. So again, likewise, an absolute pleasure, man. Yeah, you know, I really appreciate spending time with loads of different people with different opinions. You know, I like hearing it, to be honest with you, because sometimes I might have an opinion in my mind. I hear what someone else has said, and I think, actually, yeah, a difference of opinion is always a good thing. Big up, Den. You know, and obviously, from my point, obviously, OG, you know, it's always a pleasure coming on your channel. I think you've got a great little community here. And big up everyone in the chat as well. You know, obviously, these shows are done by us for you guys. You know, we like to make the effort to do it, and always interesting discussions. You know, I quite like having discussions and differences of opinion with other people, because I think it just shows that there's such a vast majority of people that actually don't care. You know, people are entitled to opinions, and actually, if you actually listen to those opinions of other people, you might learn something. And I've always thought that. So, you know, you never stop. You never stop. I'm learning. So yeah, big up everyone in the chat. Thank you for having me on, Brenny. I really appreciate it, mate. I always love coming on. At least it's with the top on this time, and I'm not half naked this time, which is always good, mate. But yeah, thank you for having me on.
No, always. No, you know, you're regular on here anyway, so you're more than welcome, man. And Marley, thank you for your debut on the channel, and you are welcome anytime. You know this. I mean, anyone here is welcome. You know what I mean? And it's like with Doddsy. See, for me, right? And my Doddsy knows me well. It's a case of I don't have issues with those that are Arteta in. I cannot take delusion. I cannot take delusions. Okay, if what I mean by that is, if you could see, like, clearly now they're saying on the TV, and you can see what's happening, everyone else can see it, and then they're going to say otherwise.
Yeah.
And I'm not into that. You know what I mean? It's all that. It's like with that journal I was telling you about. He's going to get he always keeps getting exposed. I'm thinking, and someone in the chat said, just tell the truth and be honest. Regardless of whether you're a fan, just be honest with what you see and what we could all see. You know, honesty is the best policy.
100%.
It's the best policy. You know, but listen, but big up to you. But Money, where can they find you, man? Where can they find you?
Yeah, well, sadly, no real YouTube channel of my own. What sort of masquerades as a channel only really has one video for an hour 45 minutes talking about something random which nobody will appreciate. But I might actually consider, you know, adding some more content and trying to do something in the near future, so you will definitely be in the know. But catch me on social media. It's Manny Fangador 1981 on Instagram and Threads. On Twitter, where you can see me quote tweeting a bunch of delusional Arteta fans. It's Fangador 1981. I also, you know, dabble in politics based in the UK and other parts of the world and so forth. So it's a mishmash. But, you know, I try to stick to football as much as I can, only for politics to rear its ugly head or otherwise. And, yeah, there's nothing really much to say except, you know, you can catch me on a few other channels where these days I'm starting to, you know, want to move away from the echo chamber of talking only about Arsenal and trying to go on some other fan channels and do some work there. You can catch me on a Bournemouth fan channel called Up the Cherries and All Departments, where I do some work with Craig Beasley. We're doing a show called Football Has a Problem, where we talk about many issues plaguing the game currently, ranging from rogue owners to ticket prices to pundits and several other things, and we'll be doing some more content either this week or the next. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And hopefully I'll come on again, Brenny, before the end if time permits. But once again, thank you for having me on. And Neil, as always, an absolute privilege, and I hope to stay in touch with you as well, yeah?
100%, mate, 100%.
Well, what I'd love to, and Arnie as well, end of season, what I'll probably do is, depending on what's happening, I'll try and, I mean, I've got a really good sense of humour, so I'll probably do like a couple of quizzes. It'll probably be similar to Jez's, I suppose, but you know what I mean. You're more than welcome to come on. I thought I'd do a few quizzes. I mean, some people are happy, are relieved that I'm not taking part, because the last one we did was on the Armory TV, which I won, and I think Tony got second. But it's like no one wanted to challenge me, but hey, it is what it is. But Doddsy, where can they find you, man?
Yeah, mate. As always, on your channel, Brenny. Thoroughly enjoy coming on. Thoroughly enjoy the content as well. You can find me on Football Takeover as well. Spend a lot of my time on there, as well as the Football Takeover Discord. It's a Discord we run. If anyone wants to get involved in that Discord, if you message G Talks on Arsenal, G Talks on X, and get a link, he will send you a link to get involved. Really good community we've built up. I know Brenny gets involved quite a lot, especially when I'm sort of taking aim at certain people in the Discord. I've voiced my opinions quite well, not my opinions. I don't like it when people force their opinions on me, put it that way.
You can't do that.
Nah, I don't appreciate it. But also, you can catch me on X as well. Usually, I'm the guy taking the mick out of other supporters, other teams as well. I like to spend days just basically, going after other teams, supporters that are delusional in their opinions of us. Although recently, I have had to agree with a couple of them and bow my head down. But likewise, a pleasure meeting Manny. Definitely like to keep in touch. And Brenny, I take it I'm going to see you on the Football Takeover tomorrow night with Bobby, I believe.
I'll be there tomorrow, definitely. I'll be there.
So, yeah, but thank you for inviting me on, Bren. I appreciate it.
No, big up to you, man. So, yeah. So, like Ozzy just said, you'll find me on the Takeover tomorrow. It'll be 6:45. Football Takeover, that is. Or the Football Takeaway, as Emma calls it. You know what I mean? And every time he says that, it's like I feel hungry whenever he says it. You know what I'm saying? So, and Wednesday, I'll be back as well. Wednesday, it'll be like just do a small little preview, and also we can talk about the start of 11 as well. So I'll get that set up as well Wednesday. And yes, all those in the chat, big up to yourselves as always. Love you all, man, and thanks for the support. And Marnie and Doddsy, thank you again. And my brothers, we shall catch up soon. Take care. Have a good evening.
Absolutely.
Cheers, Brent. Thanks, Manny. Bye.
Care.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Take care, man.